If you think strength means reacting fast, proving people wrong, or always having the last word, this message is going to challenge everything you believe. Because the truth is, the habits that feel powerful in the moment are often the very things keeping you weak, frustrated, and stuck in the same cycles. And once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Most people are living on emotional autopilot. They react before they think. They speak before they understand. They chase validation, approval, and quick results, wondering why life feels exhausting. But what if the real problem isn't the world pushing you, but you giving it permission to control your emotions, your focus, and your future? There is a level of strength that doesn't announce itself, a kind of calm that doesn't need attention, a patience that quietly outlasts pressure, chaos, and disrespect. And the people who develop these traits don't just survive difficult situations. They dominate them without ever raising their voice. This video isn't about motivation that fades tomorrow. It's about rewiring how you respond when life tests you. Because the moment you stop reacting, everything changes. Conversations shift. People treat you differently. Your confidence deepens. Your decisions improve. And suddenly, you're no longer drained by things that once controlled you. Most people never learn this because no one teaches it. They stay reactive. They stay rushed. They stay emotionally available to anyone who knows how to push their buttons. But you don't have to. If you've ever felt misunderstood, disrespected, or exhausted by constantly proving yourself, stay with this until the end. Because once you understand what real strength, calm, and patience actually look like in practice, you won't just hear this message. You'll start living it. Most people misunderstand strength because they confuse it with reaction. They think strength shows up in the moment you raise your voice, fire back an insult, prove someone wrong, or dominate a conversation. But that kind of behavior isn't strength at all. It's impulse. And impulse is easy. Anyone can react. Anyone can explode. Anyone can say the first thing that comes to mind when they feel threatened, disrespected, or challenged. That takes no discipline, no awareness, no mastery. Real strength begins much earlier than the reaction. It begins in the space between stimulus and response. That brief, uncomfortable pause where something inside you wants to act fast, speak fast, strike fast, and you don't. That pause is where power lives. Because in that moment, you're not being controlled by the world around you. You're choosing your response instead of surrendering it. Psychologically, every reaction is a giveaway. When someone can make you angry on command, they're in control. When a comment ruins your mood for the entire day, that comment owns you. When disrespect pulls you into an argument you didn't plan to have, your attention has been hijacked. Strength is recognizing that your emotional energy is a limited resource, and wasting it on reaction is one of the most expensive habits you can have. Strong people don't react to everything because they understand something most people never learn. Not every signal deserves a response. Not every provocation requires engagement. Not every opinion needs correction. Silence, restraint, and non-reaction are not signs of weakness. They are signs of discernment. You're choosing where your energy goes instead of letting others decide for you. Philosophically, self-control has always been the foundation of power. The ancient thinkers didn't define strength by physical dominance or verbal force. They defined it by mastery of the self. Because if you cannot govern your own emotions, then no matter how confident you appear, you are fragile. You can be moved too easily, pushed too easily, pulled into battles that don't serve you. When you react emotionally, your thinking narrows. Your body shifts into defense mode. Logic takes a back seat. This is why people say things they regret in moments of anger. This is why arguments escalate instead of resolve. Reaction doesn't solve problems, it multiplies them. Strength is the ability to stay mentally wide, emotionally grounded, and strategically aware even when pressure rises. There's also a quiet authority that comes with restraint. When you don't rush to defend yourself, people notice. When you don't chase validation, people feel it. When you let your actions speak instead of your emotions, your presence carries weight. Calm self-control signals confidence at a level words never can. It tells the world, I don't need to prove myself in this moment. This doesn't mean you suppress emotion or pretend not to feel. Suppression is not strength, it's delayed reaction. True control is awareness. You notice the anger, the frustration, the urge to respond, and you still choose deliberately. You don't deny the emotion, you manage it. You let it inform you, not command you. Think about the people who make the biggest impact in a room. They're rarely the loudest. They don't rush to speak. They listen more than they talk. When they do speak, it's measured, clear, and intentional. That's not accidental. That's practiced restraint. That's someone who understands that power increases when words are chosen carefully, not thrown impulsively. And here's the uncomfortable truth: reacting feels good in the moment. It gives the illusion of control. It releases tension, but it often creates long-term damage. Relationships suffer. Reputations erode. Opportunities disappear. Strength delays gratification. It trades the short-term relief of reaction for the long-term respect of composure. As you grow stronger internally, something interesting happens. Fewer things trigger you, not because the world becomes kinder, but because you become steadier. You stop needing external validation. You stop needing to win every exchange. You stop letting small moments dictate your emotional state. That's when you realize that strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about not being overpowered by circumstances. This kind of strength changes how people interact with you. Some will test it. They'll poke, provoke, and push just to see if they can still get a reaction. When they can't, they lose interest or lose influence. Others will respect it instinctively. They'll sense boundaries that don't need to be announced. Calm self-control quietly sets standards. The goal isn't to become cold or detached. The goal is to become unshakable, to respond with intention instead of reflex, to act from values instead of emotion. That's what real strength looks like in daily life, not in dramatic moments, but in ordinary situations where you choose composure over chaos. Because when you stop reacting, you start leading. When you control your emotions, you protect your future. And when you master yourself, nothing outside of you gets to decide who you become. Calm is often misunderstood because it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't fight for the spotlight. And in a world that rewards noise, speed, and emotional display, calm can look invisible. But make no mistake, calm is one of the most powerful forces a human being can develop. Not because it avoids conflict, but because it sees through it. When you are calm, your mind is not rushing to defend, impress, or dominate. It's observing, it's processing, it's choosing. Psychologically, calm shifts your nervous system out of survival mode and back into clarity. You can hear what's actually being said, not just what you fear is being implied. You can separate facts from tone, meaning from emotion. That clarity changes everything. Most people think authority comes from certainty, volume, or confidence projected outward. But real authority comes from stability, from being the person who doesn't wobble when pressure enters the room. When everyone else is reactive, the calm person becomes the anchor. People instinctively look to the one who isn't panicking because calm signals safety, competence, and control. This is why calm carries so much influence. You don't need to convince people you're in control when your presence already proves it. Your voice doesn't rise to be heard. Your words don't multiply to make a point. You say less, and somehow it lands more. That's not an accident. Calm sharpens communication. It removes the excess. It leaves only what matters. Philosophically, calm is rooted in acceptance. Not resignation, but understanding. You recognize what you can control and what you cannot. You stop fighting reality and start working with it. Resistance drains energy. Calm redirects it. This is why people who remain calm under pressure often make better decisions. They're not busy wishing things were different. They're focused on what can be done next. Calm also protects you from unnecessary conflict. Not every disagreement is a battle worth fighting. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected in the moment. When you're calm, you're less likely to personalize behavior that has nothing to do with you. You don't absorb other people's stress as your own. You let it pass without taking it on, and there's a deep confidence that develops when you realize you don't need to react immediately. You give yourself time. Time to think, time to breathe, time to respond with intention. That pause alone changes the dynamic of any interaction. It slows everything down. It puts you back in control of the pace, and control of the pace is often control of the outcome. Calm is also deeply disarming. People expect resistance. They expect defense. They expect emotional escalation. When it doesn't come, they're forced to confront themselves. Their tactics lose effectiveness. Their words carry less weight. Calm doesn't argue with chaos, it exposes it. This doesn't mean calm equals silence in all situations. It means when you speak, it's deliberate. Calm allows you to be firm without being hostile, direct without being aggressive, clear without being cruel. That combination is rare, and because it's rare, it's powerful. In moments of stress, your body is looking for cues. If you give it panic, it amplifies panic. If you give it calm, it stabilizes. Over time, practicing calm literally reshapes how you respond to pressure. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once triggered anxiety becomes familiar. Calm is not something you are born with. It's something you train. And the more you train it, the more others feel it. Calm is contagious. It lowers the temperature of a room. It creates space for reason. It invites cooperation instead of resistance. This is why leaders who remain calm in crisis earn trust quickly. People don't need perfection. They need steadiness. There is also a moral strength in calm. It prevents you from saying things you can't take back. It stops